In this video, you're going to learn how to add your own fading animation, so you can add this to a video. So for example, this video in the background that I have over here, or even this sticker that I have, which is fading into the whitish background. And so this is actually for a homepage of my website. So if you want to check it out, then I'm going to leave a link to it down in the description below, but it's pretty much just a notes app. So this is what it was before I worked on it, and this is what it looks like now. So I decided to make a video on it because it's a pretty cool thing that you can add to your own website. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. And for this video, I'm not going to be able to provide you a template, so you're going to have to make your own Next.js project and then add some sort of background and pretty much just copy what I'm doing. But again, this is not very complicated, so you should be able to do that by yourself. This is built with TypeScript just because it's a lot better when it comes to doing backend stuff. So if you do want me to make a video on that, then let me know down in the comments below. But the first thing you're going to want to have is at least an image or something. So what I'm going to do is actually just drag and drop this video that I have into the public folder, and I should have the notes somewhere in here, which I'm also going to show you how you can add the fading effect to. Now we're going to go to our globals.css, and in this case I'm just going to go to the very bottom and add the styles in here. But we're going to want to add a class, and I'm going to call this one fading corner. Of course, you can call this whatever you want, and we're going to use something called mask image, and you'll see how this works in a bit. But we're going to use line gradient, and here we can choose the place where we want this to go to. So for example, on my main website, if we take a look here, we can see that it's fading right over here at the bottom right corner. So to add the same effect, we can write to bottom right, and here's where we actually make it fade. So we're going to set the RGBA to be 0, 0, or let me fix this, but 0, 0, and 0, and 1, which means that the opacity is going to be 1, and we can set it to be till 60%. Then we're going to have RGBA, and this one is going to be 0 at 100%, and this should be it. So if we go back in here, what I'm going to do is actually add the image in here. So image, and of course it's not going to look exactly like this because I made a lot of changes. So unless I just copy and paste those changes into here, it's not going to look like that. So image, and in this case I'm going to set the width to be 64, and same goes with the height. Let's fix this right here, and I do have to import it. The source is going to be notes.png, and that should be it. So if we go back in here, here it is. And now let's add the class name. That should add the fading animation. So fading corner. And now when we go back, we can see that this corner is fading. And if you want a larger difference, what we can do is actually, we can open developer console in here. Let's close that, go to element. And this is actually the best way to play around with the class name and see the one that you're really going to like. So for example, right here, instead of 60, we can set this to 40. And now we can see that it starts fading a lot sooner. So what this basically means is that we want the opacity to be 1 until 40% of the picture. And from 40% to 100, we want it to kind of start fading into 0. So as we can see over here, we have 0 and 1. That's the opacity. We can even set this to 0.8, and then it's going to start from there. So it's going to go from 0.8 to 0, or we could just set this to 1, and then we can set this to be 20, and we can add another one. So let's go ahead and copy this. We're going to paste it in here, and this one is going to be, for example, maybe to 60, and now we can see that it's just 0 now, but we can set this one to 0.5 maybe, or maybe we can even set this to 0.2, and now we can see there's a larger change. But I'm going to reset this and show you how to change the direction. So of course, where it says to bottom right, we can change this to left, and now we can see that it's on the left, top left. It's going to be at the top left, and of course we can change this to top right. And if you do top, then of course it's just going to be at the very top. You can also do bottom, and it's going to be only at the bottom. And of course you can do left and right, and that's going to do the pretty much exact same thing. And there's also different types of gradients. So this one is going to be linear, and if we go in here, I'm going to reset it, go to inspect. This one, I'm going to try to find the video because there's a lot of different elements here, and this right here should be it. So there it is. If we take a look here, this one is going to be radial, which means circle. And for example, if I set this one to 0, then of course you can see that it's going to be a circle. So let's go ahead and actually add this in here. So first thing you're going to want for this example is going to be a video. So I have my notes.mp4 over here. If you don't know how to record, you can use OBS Studio and just record your screen, and then you can convert that into an MP4 because it's going to be a different type of file. And then of course you're going to want to put it in the public folder. And to add a video, you're going to want to have a video element, of course. So here I have my content. So I think what I'm going to do is create a separate div. Here I'm going to have a video. The source is going to be notes.mp4. I'm just going to copy and paste these classes, and for my video I'm just going to write them. So width to full, height to full, and then of course object cover, and let's see how this video looks. So now we can see that it's covering the whole screen, and I'm going to copy a few more attributes. So over here, let's space out like this, but we're going to have autoplay, loop, and muted. Of course, we want this to be muted unless you have some sort of music playing or that kind of stuff that you want to be playing. And there it is. So now it's just going to be playing on loop unless it's paused for some reason. So let's reset, and now we can see that it's working. Now to make it look like this, we're going to have to add our own classes, so globals.css, and for this one I'm just going to call this fading video. And of course we're going to start with our mask image because that's how we add the effect, and here we're going to change this to a radial gradient. And if you want it to be exactly like this, so let me reset. If you want it to be kind of fading at the top left, then you're going to want to set this to be circle at bottom right, which doesn't really make sense, but you're going to see how this works in a second. And if we copy my exact styles that I have on the website, this one is going to be 0.6. So we start at 0.6 because I don't want it to be full opacity. So this is going to be at 0%, of course. Then RGBA 0, 0, 0. And then if we set this to 0.3 at 40%, and this did take me a lot of tries to make it look this nice, but this one is actually just going to change to 70% instead of 100. And let's actually go ahead and add it in here. So fading video, not corner, but video. And actually this fading corner is also going to work on the video. So if we go in here, we can kind of see it fading at the bottom right. So let's change that to video, and there it is. So now it's kind of just covering the notes, but that's only because this text is in the middle. And there's a lot of different stuff that you can add to change the actual location, that kind of stuff. So you can, of course, change the height, or in this case, I'm just going to set this to 100 view height. And for width, I'm just going to set this to 75 view width, because if we take a look at it now, we can see that it's much smaller. And that's exactly what I need in this example. I don't need it to be full width. And of course, we can add position of absolute and set the right and bottom to be 0. And that's what changes the position to be at the bottom right. And also in here, we can see that the video is overlaying these curves that we have over here and not over here. And that's because what I did is actually just made it a separate image. So we can see this background corners, and I put it above the video. So that's a pretty cool effect that you can also add. But I'll just go back and add a very important class, which is called object position. And in this case, I'm going to set this to left because this is all dependent on the video. So now we can see that it's more centered because we set the pretty much center of the video to be left. But now if we set this to right, we can see that we're not really going to see anything. And again, if we set this to center, which is default, so center, we can actually see a few things. But if we change this back to left, we can see a lot more content on this video. So, and that's pretty much the very basics of how you can add your own fading effect. And of course, depending on the object that you're doing this on, you're going to have to play around with it until you have the exact effect that you want, like I did over here. And of course, this is my first time doing content like this. So if you do enjoy it, then please make sure that you leave a like. Comment down below if you have any questions or if you have anything else you'd like to say. And as always, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.